Most men don't get crushed by divorce because they were reckless. They get crushed because they were trusting. They walked in thinking that being calm, reasonable, and cooperative would protect them. That if they avoided conflict, told the truth, and did the right thing, the court would do the same. They believed that fairness was part of the process. It wasn't. What actually happens is quieter, slower, more dangerous. One decision at a time. Moving out, signing without reading, trusting without checking. Their rights shrink. Their options disappear. Their future gets carved up while they're still trying to keep the peace. And by the time they realize what's happening, it's already too late to undo it. The truth is, divorce doesn't just take your money. It takes your confidence, your stability, your ability to sleep at night if you walk in believing the wrong things. In this video, we're breaking down 5 of the most damaging myths men believe during divorce. Beliefs that seem harmless, even noble, but end up costing them everything they didn't think they'd lose. Because what you don't know about this process won't just hurt you. It will dismantle you, quietly, legally, and permanently. Let's get into it. He kept his voice low. He stayed patient. He didn't throw blame, didn't bring up old arguments, didn't dig through the past. He figured if he showed up calm, collected, and fair, the court would return the favor. It didn't. Because the system doesn't reward you for being reasonable. It responds to what's filed, what's documented, and who takes control first. This is one of the most dangerous beliefs men carry into divorce. If I stay calm and fair, the court will be fair to me. It sounds logical, mature, even admirable. But in family court, fairness isn't the default. It's a strategy. And if you're not playing the strategy, you're already behind. While he was trying to avoid conflict, the other side was building a case. While he was hoping for mutual understanding, her lawyer was locking in temporary orders, custody, financial support, division of assets, all under the impression that he agreed to it. By the time he realized the tone had shifted, it was too late. The court wasn't judging character. It was looking at paperwork. It didn't matter that he kept things civil. What mattered was that he gave up leverage without even realizing it. And here's the painful part. The court often interprets silence as consent, patience as passivity, good intentions as weakness. So while he thought he was being a stand-up man, the court saw someone who wasn't showing initiative, wasn't asserting his rights, wasn't fighting for a balanced outcome. And that quiet mistake, it set the tone for everything that came next. He trusted her, not blindly, just enough to believe she'd be fair. After all, they shared a life, kids, memories. She wasn't the type to play dirty. And she even said it, I just want what's fair. So when she asked for a little more, a bit more custody, a slightly higher support amount, control over the house, he didn't panic. He figured she was being honest. But what he didn't see coming was how quickly that line moved. Because once lawyers got involved, once numbers hit paper, once strategy replaced sentiment, fair started looking a lot more like everything. And the courts didn't question it. They didn't ask if her demands were out of character. They just saw a petitioner asking for more, and a respondent not pushing back. That's the trap behind myth number 2. She'd never go after more than what's fair. Because even if she starts with good intentions, fear, advice, or influence from others can flip the script. Fast. Maybe her attorney convinced her she was owed more. Maybe friends told her she deserved it. Maybe resentment bubbled up and she wanted control. Whatever the reason, her definition of fair started expanding, and his silence made it easier. And by the time he realized the situation had changed, it wasn't a conversation anymore. It was a demand. Filed. Stamped. Backed by law. He didn't just lose money. He lost time with his kids, rights to his property, and control over decisions he once had a say in, all because he believed fairness would be mutual. But in divorce, the person who asks first often gets more. And the person who assumes they'd never do that is usually the one who gets blindsided. He grabbed a bag, said he'd be back in a few days, and walked out. Things were tense. The arguments were getting louder. He didn't want the kids to see it, didn't want to escalate anything. So he did what felt mature. He left to cool off, to give her space, to keep the peace. But that single decision cost him more than he ever imagined. Because in family court, leaving the marital home isn't seen as kindness. It's seen as abandonment. That's the myth too many men believe. If I move out, it won't affect anything long-term. They think it's temporary. They think it won't be held against them. But the second they're out, everything shifts. Suddenly, she's the one staying with the kids, holding down the routine, managing the household. And the court sees that. Judges don't rewind to understand why you left. They look at what's been happening since you did. Who's been the stable presence? Who's been in the home? Who's been taking the lead? And the answer is rarely the one who left. So when he tries to push for 50-50 custody, he's told the current arrangement is working. When he wants access to the house again, it's not his primary residence. And when he tries to explain that leaving was an act of peace, not surrender, it doesn't matter. The court doesn't weigh intention. It weighs patterns. And the pattern now says, she stayed, he left. She's the stable parent, he's the visitor. What was meant as a short break became the foundation of a permanent disadvantage. And by the time he realized what that exit really meant, the door to balance had already closed behind him. He thought they didn't need to write everything down. They were keeping it civil, having conversations like adults. No yelling, no threats, no surprises. They'd text about the kids, talk casually about finances, even agree on who'd cover what each month. It felt good to avoid the chaos he'd heard about from other divorces. So he didn't keep records, didn't back up messages, didn't save receipts, because in his mind, they were doing this the right way. But when things shifted, and they always do, he realized too late that none of it mattered without proof. That's the trap behind myth number 4. I don't need to document anything. We're being civil. It's the quietest mistake men make. They think documentation is only for messy divorces, for people who plan to fight. But in reality, the moment things stop being friendly, the entire narrative resets, and whoever has the paper trail writes the next chapter. When she started making claims about parenting time, about money he never sent, about promises he supposedly made, he didn't have anything solid to fight back with. No screenshots, no calendar logs, no financial records, just his word against hers. And in court, your word means almost nothing without evidence. The judge doesn't know your character. They weren't there when you sent that text agreeing to a schedule. They don't remember that she thanked you for covering the mortgage just this month. All they see is what's filed, what's printed, what's proven. And while she showed up with timelines, receipts, and texts highlighted in folders, he had vague recollections and good intentions. That's when it hits. Being civil isn't a defense. Being organized is. Because no matter how friendly things start, if you don't keep track of what's said and done, you're trusting your future to a handshake. And in divorce, that handshake can disappear the second the courtroom doors open. He signed the papers just to end it. The terms weren't great. The custody split fell off. The support amount stung. But after weeks of tension, emails, and court dates looming, he told himself what so many men do: I'll fix it later. He figured once things settled down, he could revisit the agreement, file for adjustments, explain that he only agreed under pressure, that it wasn't meant to be permanent. But here's the reality he didn't see coming. Family court doesn't like to undo what's already done. That's the 5th and final myth. If I just agree now, I can fix it later. It sounds reasonable, but in the eyes of the court, early agreements, especially around custody and financial support, become the baseline. And the court values stability more than fairness. So once something is signed and in place, any attempt to change it is seen as disrupting the peace, not correcting a mistake. Now, he's stuck paying more than he can afford, seeing his kids less than he expected. And when he tries to challenge it, he's told, "But you already agreed to this." The court doesn't care that he was overwhelmed, that he just wanted to avoid a fight, that he didn't know what he was giving up. All it sees is a signed deal and a man trying to rewrite it after the fact. Fixing that kind of mistake isn't impossible, but it's slow, expensive, and often unsuccessful. And by the time most men realize that, months have passed, sometimes years, and all that time, they've been living with terms they never truly accepted. The hard truth is this: in divorce, later rarely comes. The deal you sign today is usually the life you live tomorrow. So if you're telling yourself you'll fix it after, know that after might never come. He didn't see it coming. Not because he wasn't smart, not because he didn't care, but because no one warned him. No one told him the system doesn't reward patience. That fairness isn't automatic. That keeping the peace doesn't mean keeping your rights. By the time he realized what these myths had cost him, it wasn't just money. It was time with his kids, his voice in decisions that shaped their lives, his ability to rebuild without guilt, without debt, without looking over his shoulder. These weren't just mistakes. They were beliefs, quiet, common, well-meaning beliefs that sounded right in the moment. Be fair. Don't fight. Trust her. Sign now. Fix later. All of them designed to keep things calm, but none of them built to protect him. So if you're walking into a divorce, or even thinking about one, don't carry these myths with you. Drop them now, because they don't just cost you in court, they cost you in ways you won't feel until much later. When the paperwork is sealed, when the money's gone, when the regret settles in. Being a good man doesn't mean being a blind one. You can be calm without being passive. You can be generous without being taken. You can be respectful without being erased. And when it's your rights, your money, and your future on the line, you'd better believe that clarity is more valuable than peace. Know the game, learn the rules, and protect yourself like no one else will. Because in this system, no one else will.